Kimi Raikkonen wins the Spanish Grand Prix, the second consecutive Ferrari 1-2. He extends his World Championship lead to 9 points now over Lewis Hamilton, who moves into second place as he regains his form with a podium finish in the McLaren, taking third place. So Raikkonen 9 points ahead in that World Championship. But the main talking point here in Barcelona is the huge accident miraculously survived by Heikki Kovalainen. And just like Montreal last year with Robert Kubica, we react with a sort of relief and disbelief that a driver can survive this sort of impact comparatively unscathed.
Yeah, it looks that way at the moment. Hopefully there'll be nothing that they find in the hospital where they're checking Kovalainen over. But it's a situation that you see quite often when there's a failure on the car. The driver's out of control at this point, and you can just see here Kovalainen is just coming into view of this corner now for him, and the left front tyre deflates, something lets go within the mechanical side of things, and he's got no control over the car whatsoever. Very smart in what he did, took his hands off the wheel, because that impact can break your thumbs or your wrists. But you can see the amount of damage there, Steve, what's been caused to the front of that car. It's significant.
And that's what gave the real concern, because it was absolutely unabated speed, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's probably hit at about 140 miles an hour on impact there. It's probably somewhere in the region of 100 G. So, you know, considerable, and the body's not supposed to go through that.
What sort of concern would that have given to the team about the remainder of Lewis Hamilton's race?
Well, they try and replay as much as they can on footage just to try and understand what went on, but it's so difficult, as you can see there, to try and evaluate. But also they've got data, as I say, they could see the tyre going down, but that was quite obvious at that point. They make a decision. That decision obviously was to let Lewis Hamilton continue. But if it is a stone or something like that, what's gone in between the rim and the brake and the hub and so forth, it does happen. Unfortunately, that's the consequences.
But the great news, Heikki Kovalainen taken to hospital seemingly for precautionary tests, but reports suggest that he's comparatively okay. Now, the race itself, which was okay from Lewis Hamilton's point of view, he got something right that he didn't get right in Bahrain. That was the start.
Oh, he must have done the procedure right for this one, but I tell you what, he had a fantastic start as well, because he came off the grid like a rocket and positioned himself fantastically down into turn one. I was a little bit surprised with Alonso. I thought Alonso got off the line well, but he just got out-dragged by the pace of those Ferraris. But look at where Hamilton's positioned himself. He's tucked himself up the inside of Kubica, and stuck him down into the inside there, and positioned into a P4 at this time. And a great start. Just watch here, there's Massa. You see Alonso just pulls across, tries to block Massa out, but there's so much power for the Ferraris. They just out-drag him. But the guy who's really making the moves is Hamilton at this stage. He's running down the inside of him. Watch him here, look. Tucks up behind Kubica, moves completely from one side of the track to the other. Kubica tries and squeezes him across to the grass, but he's not having any of it. And textbook stuff for a start. And
up ahead, Raikkonen was away and clear. They've dominated this weekend, Ferrari, but maybe not to the degree that we anticipated and feared.
Well, I think that's the case from the outside, but I also think that maybe there's a little bit left at Ferrari there, that if they needed to and they had pressure on them, they could step it up. You could watch the lap times. Raikkonen, when he needed to, could just press him, maybe 2 or 3 tenths clear of everybody else. But again, you know, if it is real, then McLaren and BMW have closed the gap up in race pace.
Lewis Hamilton mighty happy with that third place. Was there a prospect of catching Massa?
I don't think so. I really don't. But I think Lewis Hamilton did a great job today. I think he's put himself back in contention for a World Championship. We only need a few problems by Ferrari and they falter, and we've seen it before, then Lewis is back in contention to say for that title.
Extraordinary race, amazing level of attrition, and thankfully for once Jenson Button survived it all.
Well, Jenson once again doing a great job. He's solid performance throughout the whole race. The Honda is steadily getting there. It's not as quick as what they would like, obviously, but if you can just see the solid driving by Jenson, we saw it all last season. We've seen it beginning of this season as well. He's just putting in textbook copy style throughout, lap after lap, and he's getting these points, and that's what Honda need at the moment. They need those construction points to try and climb up the ladder.
Yeah, good solid points for Jenson Button for that 6th place finish, and we can hear from Jenson right now.
Well done, gents. First points of the season. Always good to get off the mark, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And it was a good race. I mean, the first stint when we got the safety car, I heard that Heikki's okay, which is great. But obviously in a racing situation, it was annoying that it happened, because we were going quite long. I was going quite a lot further than Ruben. So I was excited about the race anyway, but then the safety car came out and it made everything a little bit more difficult. But then, yeah, the car was working very well in the second 2 stints, especially the last stint on the harder tyre. The car was working very, very well, and I think we're going to learn a lot from this race. I think I've got used to the aero of the car now, the new aero package, and a lot of useful information for races to come.
You're moving forward, but is the pace of that movement forward quick enough for you?
Well, you know, you're never going to jump to where the Ferraris and McLarens are. It takes time, and the good thing is that what we're seeing on the car is what we're seeing in the wind tunnel. So, the information is correct. We've just got to, hopefully keep it going race by race, the improvements. Qualifying here wasn't as good for me, but I'd put that down to not understanding the aero as well as I should have. So I'm very happy with the team. I think everyone's doing a good job, and I think Ross's technical management of the team has been very good, and I think everyone's very positive, not just for the next few races, but obviously the future of Honda.
Well done, nice one.
Cheers.
Honda making progress, at least through the efforts of Jenson Button today. What did we learn about the great Renault revival this afternoon?
We've learnt that they've come back, and very unfortunate for Renault that they had the engine failure. Unfortunate for the homeboy Alonso as well, but you can now see that there is some progress made there, and I think Alonso and Renault will be an act to follow now going into Turkey. It's a circuit what may well suit them, and again they're going to take valuable points away from the likes of McLaren and BMW.
Yeah, let's take a look at how things stand in the Constructors' Championship with these 4 races gone. Looks very good, I'm sure, for Ferrari, who extend their lead to 12 points over BMW. McLaren now alone in third, putting some distance between themselves and Williams. BMW, mixed race for them, problems for Heidfeld, but a good finish from Robert Kubica. Let's get some reaction from the top 3 press conference.
Lewis, congratulations. Welcome back onto the podium after a couple of strange races for you.
Yep.
I guess from your point of view, with Ferrari on the front row, to finish third today in the Spanish Grand Prix is a great relief.
Absolutely. I think it was good to be back. And obviously when we qualified 5th, we knew it would be very, very difficult to beat the Ferraris. But the key was to obviously get a good start and make as many places as possible. And fortunately, I was able to do that. And we sort of had a feeling that Fernando would have been a little bit lighter. And so... that didn't cause us any troubles, and then especially towards the sort of middle stint and towards the end, middle stint I had to try and keep up with Felipe. I knew that he was a lap shorter than me, and but they seemed to look after their rear tyres a little bit better than us still. Yet in the last stint I was able to keep quite close and pushing right to the last lap. But it's amazing how close all the cars are. Even Kubica was extremely close to me, and I kept looking at the mirrors at a certain point, and he was always in the exact same spot. So I think it's very impressive that all the teams are so close. But it's good for the team. Unfortunately, not a great day for Heikki, and I'm glad he's okay. But we'll keep pushing.
We'll talk about Heikki in a second, but just going back to Robert, into the first corner, that really defined the race for you with Robert. It was a close battle going into the braking area into turn 1, but you won that.
Yeah, I know from past experiences in Formula 3 that Robert's one of the hardest to overtake. He's very, very aggressive on the first lap, but I was obviously able to get up the inside of him, and I was pretty much past him. I just had to make sure that I covered my ground, and it was pretty smooth sailing from there. So it was a good start for us. Again, we had 2 bad races. To come back on the podium is fantastic.
Well, those are the thoughts of Lewis Hamilton in the press conference. You can rest assured that Kimi Raikkonen was pretty happy as well. Looking ahead to Turkey in 2 weeks' time, Ferrari again.
Yeah, I think it will be Ferrari again, but I think they'll also be surprised by the race pace of McLaren and BMW. But the good thing is, Hamilton's back, and he's back with a vengeance.
It was looking like the best part of half a second a lap in the early part of the race, the Ferrari advantage. How does a team like McLaren or even BMW close that gap?
Well, they just do the same as what they've done over the last 3 weeks. Heads down, plenty of development work, and I think they know where the areas are where they're weak, but they're going to work on them. What does worry me, though, is if Ferrari still have a little bit left in the bag, and if that is the case, they're going to be a hard act to follow. OK, Mark, thanks very much indeed. We're a little bit pushed for time, but we'll have time for much more reaction to what's happened in this Spanish Grand Prix in our highlights programme, which is tonight at 11:45, repeated on ITV tomorrow. And then the next big sport on ITV, well, that's Tuesday night, that Champions League semi-final at Old Trafford. 0-0 going into the second leg between Manchester United and Barcelona. Our build-up will start on ITV4 at 7. Before switching to ITV1 for full live coverage until the first of the finalists is decided. Great night. And the next touring cars, that's next Sunday at Donington, live coverage on ITV4. And then, in 2 weeks' time, we're in Istanbul for the Turkish Grand Prix, qualifying live at 11:10 on the Saturday morning, the race live from midday on the Sunday. That's all in 2 weeks' time. So that's the Spanish Grand Prix. Everyone here gives thanks for the survival of Heikki Kovalainen and gives respect to Kimi Raikkonen. A dominant winner. He stretches his lead in the championship. Bye-bye.